If you didn't know, drum pads are pressure-sensitive pads that trigger MIDI commands to let you play different notes, usually at different volumes, depending on how hard you hit them. But instead of being optimized for actual notes like a keyboard, they're usually arranged in a grid to play more percussive samples. Hence the name drum pad. Not keys, pads. With that out of the way, you may have noticed this guy being a regular part of my studio. It's actually one of the first pieces of gear I bought, A, because it's cheap, and B, because with its shape, I figured I could play it like this. Almost like it's a guitar, except every fret could be any note I want. Making some samples of my own from the ridiculous instruments that have been in my hands, I figured it's time to dust the thing off and mess with it again. Going beyond your regular guitar's chromatic intervals, let me explain and demo some revised note layouts. This is Kevin from Said Too Much. I set everything up in a contact instrument, if you're familiar with that, and a mess of FL Studio routing and setup. The set of guitar sample doubles are from the infamous 10-string being passed around to other creators. And the bass samples are from the Kalium Quake bass, starting at a ridiculous G-sharp 0 below a piano, and an octave lower G-sharp -1 below that, respectively. Yeah, we're gonna be sampling some low tuning, with the subcontra octave being a major source of exploration and explained in a lot of videos on this channel. The samples are raw DI, but of course I'm routing them through amp sims and other plugins. In terms of programming the nanopad, I've got what would be the open 0-fret G-sharp note, followed by the next 3 chromatic frets at the top of the neck. Then, like the next string over on the 10-string, I've got the same thing starting with the C-sharp. Then we go up here for the F-sharp string, and over again for the B string, totaling the open and first 3 frets of the 4 extra strings added onto the standard 6. For another layout, I figured we could stick to a particular key. Not only would this give us more range with the limited amount of pads, but you could improvise by hitting random notes and not fall into atonal territory. So starting with G-sharp again, I've got the 7 notes of the major scale and the octave here, playable like a guitar in one hand position over 2 strings. Then at the bottom, I've got the exact same layout again, but transposed an octave to where I programmed the muted string samples. So these 2 sets of 8 pads are technically the same note, but in open and muted forms. I've also thrown in a harmonic minor version for fun, and note that we can transpose this to any note we want to start at. So what do y'all think? Is there something to this? Does this destroy the practice, patience, and respect that goes into learning guitar in the first place? Some pros are the ability to play multiple notes on what would be one string from the perspective of a guitar. Your right hand could manipulate the XY pad for other effects since it's not strumming. Or since you're basically tapping, your right hand could be put to use playing notes as well. Negatively, you have to lift your finger to reactivate the trigger, leaving a bit of dead space when trying to repeat the same note. But I'm sure someone who knows their way around other drum pad controllers could find or program a solution. So you can play these samples on a keyboard if that's more your thing, and there are plenty of actual MIDI guitars out there for guitarists to use creatively. Quick secret, these simple DI sample packs and others are actually over on my Patreon if you want to help me out. With the unlimited possibilities of MIDI, be sure to share your own ideas to try, or check the description for any follow-up videos to contribute to if you're a few months behind. For now though, enough said. For early video access, raw instrument tracks, and more exclusives, find our community on Patreon and consider adding your support.
Said too much.